How are you?
Doing well, how are you?
I'm doing great, Alhamdulillah. So tell us something about yourself and about this company.
Well, you already know my name, Nabeel Ahmad. I run the operations
All right.
for Shelby Group. Shelby Group is actually a parent company for three different companies. We have, under the umbrella of Shelby Group, we have Shelby BPO, which actually takes care of our sales, BPO related operations. Then we have Stepper BPO, which is a part of lead generation platform.
All right.
And then we have Shelby Hub. So Shelby Hub is actually a software house, a software developing company that we take off. So basically, Shelby Group comprises of all these three companies.
All right.
Yeah.
And how's your experience going on working in Pakistan?
It's going well. I mean, it's been almost 12 years now since I started this farm. Was in Islamabad before. We have shifted our business to Lahore because we needed more manpower, and you see, Lahore is becoming another Karachi now. So more opportunities. There's a trend of working in the youngsters, and that's what we needed. And because all our programs, all our projects are US based, so we need people who can actually work in the graveyard shifts. That means in the night time. And this trend is not yet that much in Islamabad Pindi. But yes, I mean in Lahore it's becoming quite common, and especially if you want to keep the environment safe, environment stable, neutral in a company, you need to have female employees as well. In Islam Pindi, it was a very big challenge for us to have people, especially females, in the night time. But in Lahore, it's quite common. So most of them are students or they have finished their studies and they are looking for jobs. So yeah, that's the reason we actually shifted our operations
All right.
back in 2020.
And how do you see like the capabilities of the employees? Are these also better like in Lahore as compared to Islamabad or?
Uh, in some areas, yes. I'll be honest with you. Labor-wise, Lahore is a bit cheaper than Islam.
Okay.
We can get caliber of better caliber of employees in Lahore than in Pindi
Oh.
in lesser price. So I'm not gonna say the capabilities maybe are the same, but again when it comes to affordability, you can afford an agent with a decent salary which he or she is also happy with, and you're also happy in giving out that salary to.
All right.
So that's
And what are the exact skills that you look for your whenever you're hiring someone? What are the skills that you feel the candidate should have those?
See, it depends on platform to platform.
All
On
right.
which platform do we require? For example, if we talk about Shelby Hub, we require software developers, we require software engineers, we require PHP developers, we require people who have experience in Agile or Scrum. So of course, then that is a totally different thing. That's producing software for different clients. When it comes to a BPO industry, and then again, that is also depending upon one project to another project. For example, if we are running, these days we are running a business project for AT&T and all other major telecom sectors in the US. And once you are communicating with business owners, then there is no communication on the phone. Then the most of the communication is being done over the internet, over via email or LinkedIn or other platforms. For that, we need people who are highly educated, who have got huge experience in business sales, who know how to communicate professionally with our business plans. Once we come towards the residential area, uh, that way of communicating is totally different than business, and most of that communication can be done over the phone. And when it comes to over the phone, now this industry has actually changed. If you talk about 5 years back, 5 to 6 years back, there was a trend of telemarketing in the US.
Yeah.
People were waiting for such calls to come and they can take the advantage from the promotions. Now people are fed up of taking such calls.
Hmm.
So this is the biggest challenge that we face
Hmm.
in telemarketing, especially in the consumer area,
Hmm.
where they do not want us to call them anymore.
Hmm.
By a recent survey, an resident of US, he receives around 31 telemarketing calls every day.
Hmm.
So now this has become a challenge because as soon as they hear our voice,
Hmm.
as soon as they hear our first 5 seconds of introduction, they will just literally hang up the phone.
Hmm.
So, the best way to explain this is if you sound like a telemarketer, you are not a good telemarketer.
All
So
right.
you sound like a normal, casual person. You're talking to them, in a casual way.
Hmm.
That's the challenge. And one of the biggest challenges, of course, no matter what, how good we are in communication,
Hmm.
English can never be our first language.
Hmm.
And over there, English is their first
Hmm.
language. So of course, communicating in their language, while it's not our own first language,
Hmm.
does become a challenge, and it is totally acceptable. I'm not blaming anyone for that. So one is the communication skills, and second is the confidence level.
Hmm.
You know, if I tell one of my employees to sell the same thing, the same product in Urdu, he would do wonders.
Hmm.
He would literally sell that product in 5 minutes.
All right.
But when it comes to speaking in English with the client, then of course, and that's totally acceptable, and that's where the training area comes in.
Hmm.
That's where we need to train them. So it's not just a training about their selling skills, but in Pakistan, it's training about your communication skills, your English speaking skills,
Hmm.
your confidence, and all that.
All right. So when you hire a client over here, not the client, in fact, the candidate over here,
Yes.
how do you see that? Like, at what level of communication skills or English skills he already is, or how do you take him? Like, do you only need to provide him the trainings and all those stuff, the effort that you put,
Right.
or he himself is also groomed enough?
Now we are actually making a change in our hiring process.
Hmm.
Before we were just hiring anyone we see who has the capability to maybe speak English. Later on, we will train him.
Hmm.
But no, that requires a lot of effort,
Hmm.
and that requires a lot of time, energy, and investment, both.
Hmm.
So right now our criteria has actually changed. We are hiring people who have at least 80 to 90% of good command in speaking English.
Hmm.
We cannot take mediocres because, again, as I told you, the trend has been changed.
Hmm.
Why would a consumer listen to you while he does not want to listen to the rest of the 30 people?
Hmm.
And he would only listen to you once you are clear, once you know what you're talking about, and you're confident. And that is all your English speaking skills.
All right.
So, if we hire a mediocre, it will take us a month or maybe two to actually make him understand the procedure, the way that he needs to conversate with the customer, the consumer. And then after 2 months, let me tell you, this industry, the attrition rate is very, very high. An average age of an employee who's dialing, we call it an agent, is 3 to 4 months. So you see, in 3 to 4 months, we invest uh, minimum 2 months in an agent to speak English properly, and then after
He
2 months,
stays 2 months here.
exactly. These are youngsters. The biggest problem with our youngsters is they are not committed. So even for a penny more, they would switch their company and they would go to somewhere else. That is what's lacking. So now we have changed the entire criteria, the procedure of hiring.
All right.
So we are actually our first and foremost basic need is the person should be able to speak proper English.
All
Then yes, even if he doesn't have an experience in this industry, fair enough. We will train them. We will train them on certain projects. But other than that,
So,
it's a big challenge.
if you are looking for advanced English speaker, so living here in Lahore to be specific, is it easy to find a candidate like that?
It is. As compared to Pindi, Islamabad, it's easy, and as I said, it's not that expensive. You can find the same kind of candidates
All right.
in Pindi, Islamabad too. But if you're hiring someone, let's say in 70k over there, you can easily hire someone over here in 35, half of that salary. That's what the difference is.
Okay.
And then if you talk about Pindi, Islamabad, that's not Pindi, Islamabad. That's just Pindi. People in Islamabad, they don't work. They don't want to do a job. See, they belong to certain families where they just don't want to work. And people in Pindi, also, there's a huge difference in the population. Huge difference in this in the youth sector. If you talk about, if you compare about youth in Lahore and youth in Pindi, huge difference. You talk about just one university, Punjab University, it's equivalent to people in Pindi. So you have more options. You can hire more because people would be leaving. As I told you, that 4 months is the age of an agent. So that means you are constantly hiring. Our HR manager is constantly hiring.
Yeah.
We're having a batch every Wednesday, every week, because we know people will leave. So there is no way you can really do retention on such a big scale. So the other solution is you hire more people, and that's why Lahore suits us.
And it's an ongoing process over here.
It is.
And every single training and investment you invest on those candidates, they just leave with that.
Absolutely.
That's the worst part. And this is not only in Pakistan, I believe. So Pakistani people also do this in other countries.
Absolutely.
And that is why they are not reliable at all.
Absolutely.
Alright, so what do you think?
Sorry to cut you out. Sometimes I really believe that I should change the name of my company from Shelby Group to Shelby Training Center.
And what's the reason for that?
Because you train people, they leave. Simple.
Yeah. But you're not even getting money from them for
Absolutely.
training. I mean,
Yeah,
in fact,
no,
you're
but-
paying them.
So let's change to Shelby Trust then.
Then I believe so there should be the fourth company as well. The three
Shelby Trust.
Shelby Trust might be.
Only the fourth will be running. The rest of the three will be shut down.
Yeah, fourth one will go the highest successful.
Oh, yes.
level. Okay.
But in zero revenue. Yeah.
Okay, so
Correct.
what are the exact importance of trainings? I mean, is it like for in your company, communication is, or the English speaking is might be the only training, but do you also provide other trainings? And what is the exact importance of trainings in a workplace?
Training is the most important area in every company, not just this. I mean, this is all related to technology. And you see how technology is progressing. I'm not talking about every day, but every hour. Every day you find something new. And you won't be able to grasp the knowledge of that particular product unless you're trained for that. So, no one is, and then secondly, no one is perfect. I'm not perfect. Everyone needs training. Everyone needs a refresher. Everyone needs a refresher. I mean, our biggest clients are HughesNet and AT&T. They are introducing a new package, a new product almost every week. And until unless we actually train our agents for that particular project,
So all gonna be
then it's null and void. So training is the most aspect, not just in this industry, but I would say in every industry. I mean, until unless and two kinds of training. New training people for your new employees, but most importantly, the online training of your existing employees. That what matters the most. Training is also a very strong aspect in retention of your people too. If you are training them well, if you're getting training is not just like you call them up, you start training them, hey, you are going wrong and you need to do better. No, that's not training. Training is also you calling them up, you're getting a feedback, you're getting an update, how things need to be improved. Whenever I'm sitting with my managers, with my management team, I ask them, tell me what are the drawbacks in me and the company. Don't do buttering and all that stuff. Once I'm over 50, then you can do that. I would love that. But right now, I need to know where we are going wrong and where we need improvement. And that's where the training comes in. And then, if they tell me something and I do not follow up with them correctly or properly, then I'm not giving them the right training. So training is something that, coaching and training is the backbone of every industry, that I really believe. And especially your ongoing training for your existing employees. Otherwise, as I said, the way the technology is progressing every day, we will be left so far behind. We are already so far behind from the rest of the world, unfortunately. This is the fact, this is the truth. So if we stop, if we give less concentration towards training, then one day we'll be just hitting the seabed and that's it.
Yeah.
And we'll be synced in.
True.
More. Yeah.
And how do you see, I mean, those giant companies are already like arranging these trainings into their company. They do have separate training for marketing, for sales, for HR, for team building, for conflict management, and so many others. But the middle class businessman, or might be a small scale business who has just quite recently started at school, they consider training as an expense. I mean, of course, you have to pay to the trainer, to the training company,
True.
and eventually you would have to take the time of your employees who is going to be, like they believe so, it's going to be productive if they work, but they have to stop their work and they are getting a training. It could be the waste of time, it could be the waste of money.
Let me correct you here. Training is not an expense. It's an investment. So if you take training as an investment, definitely that will pay you back.
Yeah, true.
And then I'm a self-made man. I'm a trainer myself too. So if I'm a mediocre company and I know that I cannot afford training, I should be in a shoes that I can train my people myself. But yes, if you're taking training as an expense, then you're not going anywhere. You're not going to be going anywhere. I'm just going to give you an example. You have opened up a restaurant, a huge restaurant, and perfect dishes. Everything is so good. Until and unless you let the people know about the restaurant, they won't come. So if you have no plan for marketing, your restaurant is gonna go flop.
True.
So if you have no plan for training in such industries, then one day you will actually realize that if I would have spent maybe 20-30K whatever on that particular training, I would not have lost this much today.
Yeah. Good.
So, and that's where we go wrong. We have to, once you're running a business, you have to think on a longer run. That's why you're running a business. You have to think out of the box. You have to go an extra mile. And if you are not putting an effort on your training system, I'm not saying that you actually always have to, get the training from outside, pay the expenses. But all I'm trying to say is sometimes in-house training is good too. But yes, that makes a huge difference. Once you came into my office, I am a trainer myself. I have a huge experience. I've trained people in India, Australia, New Zealand, US, everywhere. Maybe I have more experience than you.
Yeah.
But you know what made the difference? When you came in for the training. That makes a huge difference. When there's a change in the training, I'll be calling them every day and I'm giving them the same, story every day. But once you are giving training, they might listen to you more. Why? Because it's change. Change is needed, and change needs to be accepted. So no matter how good of a trainer I am, sometimes we need a change, and that was a change where I brought people like you inside my company from outside to train my people, and that actually made a difference. Yes, provided you did a fantastic job in training, no doubt about that, and that actually left a very positive point on my employees too. So you have to think as a businessman, otherwise you should not.